How do I find a good song for a podcast? What should you listen for? Keep listening to find out. You're listening to Practical Podcast Tips. My name's Eric Beals, and today I'm going to cover tip number 20, what makes a good song for your podcast. Music plays a huge role in your podcast production. It really sets the tone for your podcast, but there are some things to listen out for and to kind of pay attention to when searching for some songs. For one, make sure there's no like weird distracting sounds in the songs. There's some songs I've heard that have maybe a very unique tone to it, or a very unique jingle where it maybe just draws a little bit too much attention to itself or has weird sounds in it. I mean, I've heard some songs with sometimes with like sirens in it and whatnot. And I am not a fan of those ones because it's like if I'm driving listening to something, I don't want to be hearing sirens. So I'd avoid like weird things like that. But one thing to consider too is music can become an identifier for your show. So sometimes a jingle can be a good thing. It just kind of depends, and you have to kind of use your own judgment for that. But one thing that I always like to say to really think about and focus on when picking a song for your show is that the song should complement your voice. So make sure it goes well with the sound of your voice. The song for this show, I really like it. And it took a while for me to find a song that I liked or I thought fit well. I probably downloaded 20 different ones before I found the one I wanted. And that doesn't include all the ones that I previewed too, just on a royalty-free website. So the song should complement your voice. And it should always be supporting your voice. Remember, you're the star of your show. So the song should not be detracting or be drawing too much attention to itself. The song shouldn't be saying, hey, look at me, look at this awesome song. It should be supporting you, who's the star of the show. People should be coming to listen to you and not the song that you have on your show. It's a challenging thing because there's plenty of times where I'll hear a song and think, oh yeah, this sounds really cool. I really like the way this sounds. And then I try it and test it out, and it just draws too much attention to itself. And so I don't like it. And it might depend on the podcast as well, too. It's a challenging thing to just say what songs work and what songs won't work, simply because the style of your show might be different. You might have a specific style in mind that will fit your audience. And another thing to keep in mind is what's the feeling the song creates, right? So listen to the song with headphones on and kind of pull away a little bit on what the song sounds like and what's the feeling that you get when listening to that song. Do you feel inspirational? Do you feel super pumped up? Do you feel a little bit sad? What's the feeling you want to give your audience, right? So if you're like a motivational speaker or a sales coach, and you have a podcast, then you might want something that's super inspirational, right? Very, very hyper uplifting. Or if you have a podcast that's maybe you're talking about more sensitive subjects, maybe you don't want something that's going to make you feel super inspired, or maybe you want something more gentle, maybe like more hopeful sounding, right? And those are really good things to like search by and to sort by, is kind of the feeling that song creates or generates within your audience. And I'm a huge believer in in music and finding the right song. I will spend hours sometimes searching for the right song. And I'll go through hundreds of songs to find the right one because I think it's really, really important to have the right song for your podcast. So if you're spending hours, that's you're not the only one to spend that much time searching for a song. I do that all the time because I think it's really, really important. With that said, you should settle on something. But what tends to work is, download a few selects that you really like, 4 or 5, maybe 6 different songs, and see how they work. And then If you're still not sure, maybe show it to some people, show it to a few friends and see what they think, right? So remember, when you're searching for a song for your show, make sure that it complements your voice and that it doesn't draw too much attention to itself. So just remember, there's a lot of really cool ones out there, but maybe they draw too much attention. So just consider that when selecting one. And remember that you're the star of your show, right? It needs to be complimenting you, and the song should be revolving around you on your show, and or your guest if you have guests on your show. And if you'd like to find out more on where you can find music, go ahead and look up episode 12. And Amber talks about some of the locations of where you can find some royalty-free music and how to search for that. All right, that's it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, feel free to leave us a review. I'd love to hear how it helped. Also, if you know somebody else that could benefit from it, go ahead and share it with them. Thanks again, and see you in the next episode.